Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here. I want to do something unusual today, and that is present each one of my books to you individually. So it's going to be a short presentation of each one of the books that we have available right now in English. I hope we'll be able to get all of them, but we'll try our best. So that's a task that will take me to at least 100 books, just for you to know what to expect in each one of these books. So the first book that I'm going to start with today is this book here. It's called How the Church Creates Economic Recession. How the Church Creates Economic Recession. Now, there is a quote from Leonardo da Vinci there that says, "Many have made a trade of delusions." Unfortunately, the Nigerian church has made a business, a commerce, a trade of the delusion that they send out from the church and sell out to the public. The delusions of oil, handkerchief, mantle, ribena, blood of Jesus, miracles, and testimonies, and all kind of things that is just a delusion to people. Life of the people is not changing. The economy is not changing. It's rather getting worse. The delusion in tithe and offering and things like that. People say it's working for them, but their lives are not changing. Their lives are not changing. The country is not changing. That is trade in delusion, according to Leonardo da Vinci. So many have made a trade of delusions and cause and false miracles, deceiving the stupid multitudes. He called them stupid multitude. That is the motto, that is the quotation that is on top of the book. So many are trading in delusions and false miracles. And our country right now is like we are in bondage. We have been captured and captivated by this delusion of miracles. So you see the picture in that, you see the photograph in that book, on that book. It says, How Church Creates Economic Recession. And if you look at that photograph very well, you will see that the church is neat, clean, beautiful, but the country is in a mess. It's like a garbage place. It's like a trash. It's like the whole country is full of trash. It's like slump. See, that is exactly what is happening in our country right now. But worse than that, what is responsible for the beauty you see in the church? It is because the church has brainwashed the populace that they, even in their poverty, that they need to bring the very last they have to the church if they want to better their lives. But you guess what? Whose life is being bettered? It's not the life of the people who are releasing their last, but it's the life of the man that is receiving the money from the people. So by preaching that you only have to give to come to prosperity, the only person who gets prospered is the man that is receiving the money, while the populace and the nation that is bringing to them is becoming poorer and poorer. 30 years ago, when this false gospel of prosperity entered into Nigeria, Nigerian money, naira, was $1 to $1. Today, the more we have these churches, the more economic recession our nation comes to. That's why I wrote this book, How the Church Creates Economic Recession. There are a lot of other things in this book, especially the doctrines and the false messages that have been preached in our pulpit, like the message of breakthrough, miracles, instant gratification, that has made our people to become ineffective and unable to build a competitive economy. If you want to know why Nigeria is in the state we are in right now economically, you need to read this book, how the church creates economic recession. I hope it will deliver a whole lot of people. All right, we'll go to the next book. The next book after this book is a book that I called A Man or a Mouse. A Man or a Mouse. Did you see the photograph on that book? Looks funny, but it's not really funny. This is exactly the picture of what happens to people when they go to church in our country. And not just the church responsible for this. Educational system, the political system, families are responsible to making people of biomasses, people that have been deprived of their willpower, people that have been conditioned to reason only one way, the way their slave masters tell them to reason. Unfortunately, religion especially has made our people to become biomasses, people without willpower, and people who are already conditioned to respond in a certain way. So when you look at that book, you see the picture of a man that looks excellently well, dressed well, suit, everything looks perfect. But the head, the brain has been replaced. It's not thinking, no critical thinking. When a society or a group of people is deprived of critical thinking, what you get as a result is a mouse. A lot of us are being turned into mouse in churches, in the society, and that's why I wrote this book. It's time for us to arise, raise your head up, and become a full human. And you cannot do that without regaining your willpower. In that book, there is a quotation there from Sergei Abrasov that says, the physical birth of a child is not yet the birth of a man. The fact that you exist physically doesn't mean that you exist. The fact that your parents have given birth to you doesn't mean that you are a man. For you to become a full-fledged man, you need to give life to yourself. Regain control over your mind. Stop selling out your mind, control over your life and your mind to your church, pastor, religion, country, politicians, etc. You want to become a man? Get a hold of that book. Because if there is no willpower, then there is no man. That's it. Let's go check out the next book. The next book that I want to present to you is on love. The main reason for the ineffectiveness of our churches today is because of false love. This book is called False and True Understanding of Love. False and True Understanding of Love. Why do we have so many poor people in our society? We don't have love. And not just that we don't have love, because some people will say, oh, we have love. We talk about love all the time. But what kind of love? False love. Have you ever heard the terminology, false and true love? What's the difference? Well, the love that our churches are supposed to be teaching us is a love that is quoted by Jean-Jacques Rousseau in this book. Jean-Jacques Rousseau says to love deeply or really is to forget about yourself. To really love, the love that they're supposed to be teaching us is the love that makes us to abandon ourselves and sacrifice. And sacrifice ourselves for other people. Love that sacrifices, that forgets. If that is not the love that you are being taught, but today most of the love that you are being taught is love yourself first. Not forget yourself, but embrace yourself, love yourself. That is not love. That is selfish love. And it is because of that selfish love, that's why we pass by the orphans, the widows, the poor, the disabled. And our country is in such a mess and we don't really care because we are only loving ourselves. It breeds egocentrism, selfishness that is leading to corruption and the looting of a whole nation. Do you really think you have love, even towards members of your family, even towards your own child? We don't. Because some of us are parents, but we are only giving birth to those children for ourselves. We are using our children to be a source of pleasure to us, not to give them the best life. We use our parents for the same thing. We use God for the same purpose. We are in trouble when when we think we love, but we are actually practicing false love. Want to do something about it? That's why you need that book, False and True Understanding of Love. The next book is a book that, according to psychological research, that only 3% don't suffer from this phenomenon that we are going to be talking about today. The book is called How to Be in the Here and Now. How to Be in the Here and Now. And the second name of the book is Stop Daydreaming and Start Living. Daydreaming is a big issue. You are somewhere talking to someone and you say, oh, what did you say? Because he's been daydreaming, he's lost. He's not hearing you, he's not here. Or you are listening to me right now, as you are listening to me, your mind has flown to somewhere. This is people almost have taken this to be normal human condition. But it is not the normal human condition. The normal human condition is to live out of consciousness, is to always be readily conscious. And if your mind flies away and you're always thinking about things and always have to regain yourself, you are a daydreamer and you need to be healed of it. And this book is a healing book. It will help you to learn to be in the here and now every second of your day. Why is that important? It's important because you are only alive when you are conscious. You are only alive when you live in consciousness. You are only alive when you are in the here and now. But when you do things in an autopiloted way, when you are just living by instinct, you are reduced to an animal status at that point. An animal status. Because animals are the ones that are created to live by instinct. Man is created to live by understanding, by knowledge, by active consciousness. That's why this book is absolute necessity for everybody. Your focus will determine your reality. If you don't focus on anything, because when you are daydreaming, you are lost. It means you focus on emptiness, and emptiness comes to reign in your life. So to overcome daydreaming and begin to live a full-fledged life, this book is for you. How to Be in the Here and Now. The next book I'm going to be talking about is called How to Become Great Through Time Conversion. How to Become Great Through Time Conversion. There are three things you can do with time. You can either waste time or spend time. But there is a better thing to do than just to waste your time or even spend your time. The best thing to do with time is to invest time. This book is all about how to do that. Making every hour of your day to produce a tangible, concrete product for you. That is how you convert time to become the greatest wealth in the world, which is the wealth of time. And this is the secret of how to turn that wealth of time into riches. So that's why we're talking about converting time. You convert your time to a product. So let me ask you this. What is the product you have converted your day today to? What about yesterday? What about last month? Show me one product that 1 month that is gone, or that last week is converted into. Where is the product? If you don't have the product, you need this book. You need to become a master in exchanging time for a product on a daily basis. All right. The next book I'm going to be talking about today with you is When to Pray, When Not to Pray, When to Stop Praying. Those are not 3 books. That's just the title of one book. When to pray, when not to pray, when to stop praying. Want me to say that again? When to pray, when not to pray, and when to stop praying. The difference between the 3 will determine how effective and effectual your life will be, and of course your prayers. If you are praying when you are not supposed to pray, your life cannot be effective, neither can your prayer be effective. If you are not praying when you are supposed to be praying, a lot of losses will be recorded in your life. And if when you are supposed to stop praying, you are still praying, you will be left out in life. You want to know the difference between the 3? That's why you need this book. When to pray, when not to pray, when to stop praying. And the 3rd book. The 3rd book is called Understanding God. Unfortunately today, that term understanding God has become a rarity. People would rather seek to understand the church, or to understand their pastor, or they seek to understand their GOs, their bishops. To understand God seems to be too far. God is too far. How do you get to him and talk less of understanding him? Well, but the real thing that we are called to know and understand is not church or people, first of all. The first person that we needed to understand is God. And God said, if any one of you is going to be boastful or proud or of anything, be proud of the fact that you know me and understand me. If you don't know God and you don't understand God, you have not started your journey in life. Understanding God is the foundation of life. Until you understand him, you can't understand yourself. I think this book, by its title alone, tells volume about its content. Understand God and begin to live. Next book is called What Miracles Will Not Do For You. What miracles will not do for you. In an age when the whole reason why people go to church and why people seek God these days is to seek for miracles, this kind of book sounds antithetical. How can we not have faith in miracle when that is the whole essence of us having faith in God? Forgetting that same God, when Jesus was on the earth, said, it is only evil and adulterous generation that seek for miracles. If you are still seeking for miracles, you're missing the point. God did not create man to live by or function by miracles. We are all created to live by principles. That's why he says he had exalted his word above his names. You can call on his names as much as you want, prayers, but until you begin to abide by his word, by his principles, miracles don't come. The greatest miracle you ever have on a daily basis is the miracle of observing the rules and procedures of God and seeing things work out for you. I don't deny miracles, but God will only give you miracles when you have done your own part. There's a place for miracles, but it is not the order of life. We are not supposed to be living by miracles. We are supposed to be living by faith. The just shall live by faith and by principles. And when we have done our best, miracles will come. So we need to really wake up our people and tell them that, hey, come down from your high horse. Come down, put your feet on the ground, and put your feet on the ground and begin to live real life. That's why in Africa we are waiting for miracles so much that the whole world has overtaken us in development and civilization. For us to catch up with the rest of the world and to stop running to Europe for survival, we need to get our hands dirty and begin to go more after innovation, not miracles. Begin to think more about invention than going to church every day. We need to begin to build our bridges instead of asking God to teletransport us. Let's begin to get our hands dirty, roll up our sleeves, and begin to build a better world and the kingdom of God on earth, rather than just waiting for God to come and do for us what we are supposed to do for ourselves. What miracles will not do for you? So many things. You need to get that book to find out. The next book I'm going to be talking about now is the book that is called Team Building Skills of Jesus. Team Building Skills of Jesus. This is for leaders and for people who want to move forward. And you know, a tree cannot make a forest. Even Jesus couldn't make a forest all by himself. He needed a team. And thanks to that team of Christ, the faith got to us today. We now have Christianity. So, if you want to really achieve anything great, either in the secular world, or in Christianity, or in business world, or in politics, you need to learn how to build a team. So who is the better person to learn from? Who is the best person to learn from? If not from the master. Nobody ever did a better job in team building than Christ himself. That's why he has the most followership in the history of humanity than any other person. In this book, I've compiled together the principles that made Jesus tick and that made him to be so successful in team building, plus my own experience. So I would like to encourage you, get the book and build a formidable team to leave your name in the sand of history. This next book is a book that Christians don't like to, it's a book on a topic that Christians don't like to talk about, because we want to believe in the illusion that for us to have challenges or trials or crises is to mean that we are falling out with God, or we are doing something wrong, or we are sinners. But really, trials, crises, tribulations, temptations, problems are all the norm in a normal human life. You don't have to be a Christian. If you are just a human being, you are going to be passing through trials from time to time. And trials will never cease to come to your life just because you became a Christian. When you became a Christian, while you are a Christian, until you die, you will keep on having crises and problems. So Christians should get used to the fact that trials, crises, tribulations, travails are the norms of life. And because we want miracles that will keep us from all these things, we go and live in the church and abandon the responsibilities that God created us for. but to get the right understanding in regards to problems and to how to take advantage of problems and turn it to your advantage is what this book is about. Because you are a product of your greatness. You only become as great as your troubles. You only become as great as the trials that you're able to overcome. Overcome more trials, take on more challenges, and become even greater. This next book is one of my favorite books. It's called The Law of Difference. Stereotypes. Stereotypes in thinking, stereotype in relationships, stereotype in cultures, stereotype in mindset, worldview, stereotype in paradigm, condition us to become prejudiced without even knowing it. So this book here is a book that will help you to see the uniqueness of yourself and the uniqueness of everybody you come across. It will help you to appreciate everybody, no matter how bad they are, or how good they are, how beautiful they are, or how ugly they are. This is the book. In fact, most people who have read this book said they put it just near their bed to always be going back to it from time to time again. Lewis Carroll, in the quotation that I put on top, says, "I am not strange, and I'm not weird. I'm not off, nor am I crazy. My reality is just different from yours. I'm only different." Too often we think people are crazy because they are different. Too often we think people are off just because they are different. We think people are weird just because they are different. The law of difference will open your eyes. The next book is called No One is Better Than You. When you read that book, you would like to climb the Everest again. When you read that book, you would like to take on any battle. When you read that book, you will shout out to the world that, "Look, world, here I come." This book will teach you not to compare yourself with anyone in this world. According to Bill Gates, if you do so, you are insulting yourself. No one is better than you will teach you not to insult yourself. And also, it will teach you how to become the very best version of yourself. No one, even me, is better than you. Let us start believing it. The next book, for some reason, this book has become one of the most read books, one of the most popular books. I don't know why people fall in love with this book. It's called Why You Must Urgently Become a Workaholic. We are all familiar with the word alcoholic, which is a state when somebody drinks so much that he becomes dependent on drinking, such that until he drinks, he doesn't feel all right. Well, that's exactly what you need to become when it comes to working. When you are not working, you are sick, you are not all right, you are allergic to not working. Well, there are too many benefits to list in when you live that lifestyle than I can even possibly do in this show. But to become workaholic is to condemn yourself to success and achievements. To become workaholic is to make yourself indispensable to your generation and the generation to come. One of the statements that I put on the cover of the book from the very book itself is called, it says, "Work like a slave today and live like a king tomorrow." We want your future to be bright. Work like a slave today. Then you'll be able to live like a king tomorrow. because it's only through work we become co-creators with God. Work will make you to become like a God in your own sphere of influence. Yep. The next book we are going to be talking about now is called Excellence. So many mediocres around us, so many average people around us, and most people are trying just to be good enough, just to be average, just to fit in the pack. But excellence is something that will just propel you forward and fast, put you in a class of your own. You want elevation in life, you want promotion. You cannot be promoted faster than through excellence. Excellence will cause people to be looking for you from everywhere, from right, left, and center. Excellence will propagate and advertise you. Excellence will cause your fame to go to the north, south, east, and west. Just learn to do one thing good and better than everybody else. And you become the star of your life, of your generation. So that's the book. Excellence is the very sure key to a quick and accelerated elevation. The next book, an amazing book that is called How to Live an Effective Life. How to Live an Effective Life. This book will bring tears to your eyes, but a lot of comfort as well. Too many people are alive, but we've not been taught how to live. All of us live in terms of we exist, but do we really live? I've been thinking about this hard and strong for a long time. Hence, I came to the conclusion that no, I must help my generation to know the secrets to living rather than existing. This book will teach you the difference between existing and living. And it will give you the point and the steps, the formula to begin to live rather than to exist, rather exist. That's why I call it How to Live an Effective Life. And how many people do you know that live an effective life? Too few. You can become one of those. The next book here that I'm going to be talking about right now is called The Sin of Irresponsibility. The Sin of Irresponsibility. I never heard the word responsibility, or maybe I heard the word, but I never really studied the word and never really got to know the word until I was over 20. I never knew that it was as serious as this. I never realized that only few words are more important than the word responsibility. Not until much later did I discover that irresponsibility, even the small irresponsibility left, right, and center that we all engage in on a daily basis is actually a sin. Even though you will not see a word like irresponsibility as in the list of sins right there in the Bible. But when you see and read the Bible from the spirit of the word, you will find it quite very clear that, irresponsibility, everything is connected to irresponsibility. You want to know why Adam and Eve fell? Well, look for the word irresponsibility. You want to know why Adam blamed the wife? You want to know why Cain killed his brother Abel? Uh-huh. You want to know what happened between Abraham and Lot? Mm-hmm. You want to know why Abraham engaged in sexual relationship with his servant? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You want to know why there is a problem between the Jews and the Muslims and Christians up to today? Mm-hmm. The sin of irresponsibility. It's good that you deal with it in your life. This coming book, this book where I'm talking about right now, is one of my own. It's one book that I'm grateful to God that I was able to write. It's called Visionless Life. That is a life without vision. Visionless life is a meaningless life. Visionless life is a meaningless life. In this book, I made a statement that says the physical eye becomes a burden to a man who is living without vision. So the fact that you have eyes is not an advantage yet until you can convert those physical eyes into vision ability, the ability to have vision. Too many people are walking through life looking, because everybody can look, but only few can see. Everybody look, but only few see. This book will convert you from a looker to a seer. This book will convert you from somebody that possesses eyes physically to somebody that possesses vision. So that your physical eyes will no longer be a burden to you, but an asset. An amazing book. You will only wonder, why am I just coming across this book now? It's totally different from all the motivational topics and books you have read on vision. It's a money back guarantee. You will soon discover it when you read the book. This next book is called Why Does God Take from Those Who Don't Have and Give to Those Who Have? Hey, maybe you didn't get that right. God is not taking from those who have to give to those who don't have. It's actually taking from those who don't have. And then goes ahead to give to those who already have. How can God do that? That's not fair, is it? Well. If you're a humanist, a socialist, or a communist, well, that doesn't look too fair. But the difference is that we have to think like he thinks. We need to condition ourselves to see the world and life like God sees it, and to function in life like God planned us to function. The function of life says that anything you are trusted with, and there is no one that is sent to this world without being trusted with something, that thing you are trusted with must be put into good use. If you don't put it to good use, a profitable use that is yielding increase, this could be family, this could be children, this could be husband, this could be country, this could be relatives, this could be money, this could be business, this could be anything. It could be job. Most people will sit down and complain about what they don't have. instead of putting it to the best use so that they could be given more. But we sit around and complain about what we do not have instead of maximizing what we have. And what happens is God looks for that person that has maximized the little or the much he was given. Then God will call the guy that had little or nothing and tell him, well, that thing that you have left, give it to me. You don't even deserve to have that too. And he will give it to that person that has proved that it deserves to. You complain about what you don't have, be careful. God might be going after you to collect the very little one that you didn't even notice you had. That book will open your eyes and will make you run like a madman. This next book I'm going to talk about is going to be talking about my constituents, which is the church. I've been a pastor for the past 25 years, and I've seen too many churches to count. And I'm disappointed that people don't know what church is all about anymore or how to do church. If you go to a church, doesn't matter what church, it doesn't matter what they call themselves, it doesn't matter what denomination, it doesn't matter in what country or in what continent. If your church is not raising you up to become a deliverer or a savior and a deliverer, you got no church, you got a club. Maybe a cultural club, a social club, a religious club, anyone. But it's just as good as going to a pub. Church is all about turning you into what God wants you to be, in being a deliverer to a certain sphere or group of people, becoming a savior, extending the nature and the person of Christ to somebody or somewhere. If you are not being equipped to do that, you got no church. You might need to sit down and find one, or maybe find out what church is and what church is supposed to be given to you. That's what this book is about. Church, the breeding ground for saviors and deliverers. The next book is on church also, but it's slightly different from the one I had spoken about earlier. The one I spoke about earlier is the church, the breeding ground for saviors and deliverers. But this one is called the church, an instrument to subdue the earth. The church, the breeding ground for savior and deliverer is talking about church's responsibility to the member, to the individual member. What the church is supposed to be turning you into. But this other book, The Church, an Instrument to Subdue the Earth, is talking about the place and role of the church itself in regards to the society. Every church is called to transform the environment, the society, the community. If your church is not transforming anything around, either the nation or the street or the community, you might need to find a church. Church is not a club. It's not a feel-good club. It's not a cultural club. It's not a religious club. It's not a dancing club. It's not a music group. It's supposed to be reclaiming the earth back to God and making the knowledge of the Lord fill the earth as the waters cover the sea. The next book I'm going to talk about today is Stop Blaming What You Lack. Stop blaming what you lack. Well, we are all guilty of this because we look at our neighbors, we look at our surrounding, we look at the things that we wish to have, and we focus more on those things that we desire to have. and then lose sight of those things we actually do have. Too many things in your life that you have that you don't even notice. Too many things that you are not seeing, but you do have. And one singular thing that is to blame for that is most likely the practice of focusing on that which you are yet to get. So when you focus on the things that you don't have, you lose sight of the things you do have. Whereas life is supposed to be lived this way. Underemphasize, de-emphasize those things you don't have. Look hard and long for the things that you do possess, you do have. Then do your best with those little things that you have. And you'll be shocked how small become great. It is your duty to magnify what you have to become great, rather than looking for the great things that you lack. Stop blaming what you lack. Start maximizing what you have. The next book I want to talk to you about today is called Stop Looking for a Job. The challenge of unemployment in my country today. Everybody's talking about it as if somebody is supposed to provide a job for you, and as if finding a job is the way we're supposed to function. This book is going to convince you otherwise. No, we're not supposed to be looking for a job. You are not created to be looking for a job. No, no one is created to be looking for a job. It's an insult to be looking for a job. It's not a sin to have a job. Nothing bad in doing job for some time, but you are not created for that. All of us will go through job at one stage or the other, but you are not created for that. So stop looking for a job. So what do you need to look for? Look for yourself. By the time you identify and find yourself, you will find a job. But a job, not where you become a slave to some Uncle Sam somewhere, but the job of you, the job on yourself, and the job that you create to realize who you are. The best job you ever have is job on yourself. Add value to yourself. Identify your area of calling. Begin to till and cultivate your ground, and that job will never last. I will never finish, and you will never look for a job when you find yourself and learn to till and cultivate your ground. You will become a job giver rather than a job seeker. Joblessness could be a blessing if you know the secret, and that's what this book is going to teach you. To our ladies and daughters especially, and those ladies and women who are still dreaming of becoming a wife someday, or maybe you are already a wife. Do you know the secrets and the steps and the definition, the identity of being a wife? Have you really been taught? Have you really been, have you really studied it from the point of view of a man? Do you know the requirements to be a wife? One day, while I was consulting with some of my members here who wanted to marry, I asked them this question and I was not satisfied with their answer. They didn't know what it means to be a wife, the conditions and the requirements. Soon I discovered I couldn't find a book like that in the market. So I decided to write that book. Either you're a wife already or you plan to be someday. This book will open your eyes big time. And then you'll still be able to help a lot of other people. Am I ready to become a wife is the name of the book. Am I ready to become a wife? Okay. The next book is for parents. How to create core values in a child. How to create core values. It's not enough to just have children. Having children is a function of instinct and biology. But raising children is a function of parents. But if you want to raise children, what do you put in them? How do you form for yourself the kind of children that you desire to have? How do you make the life of your children predictable? How do you know who your children are going to become eventually in the future? Actually, it is possible to predict your children's future. It is possible for you to know the kind of children you will have. It is possible for you to design your children's life. And the key is one thing. What is in this book? Core values. Many parents or so-called parents never heard this before. You better look for them and begin to put them as building blocks to make your children become the predictable, proud children that you will look at and say, yes, I've done a good job. How to create core values in a child. This next book, I think it's a book that everyone needs to read because we all get to feel this way sometimes. It's called Why Am I Unlucky? Why am I unlucky? Why me? Why am I unlucky? Why am I unlucky? Things happen in life. And at times, you could be tempted to think that these things only happen to you. And that's what drives a lot of people to the religious houses and the mountains and making them worse than they were when the problem began. Because those churches and religious houses, most of the time, they just keep you there to begin to expect God to do for you what you are supposed to do for yourself. But one of the statements that I made in this book says, I discovered that when I begin to work 18 hours a day, then I begin to get lucky. Well, there are principles that you go abide by that will make you to be lucky all the time. But when you abandon or neglect those principles, you feel like the world is against you, that you are always unlucky. Seneca, in the quotation that I use in the front of this book, says, luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. Even when things are bad for you and you are down, just always keep on preparing yourself. Keep on digging. One day, you will reach the source of water. And that hard ground will become a fountain and a stream of water for you if you just keep on preparing yourself. Why am I unlucky? Why is life unfair? Get the book and know what to do at a time like this. This other book I'm going to talk about now is the book that many people read and think that this man must be crazy. The book is called Hello, I Am Searching for Problems. Hello, I am searching for problems. Give me problems. And he had a loudspeaker announcing, hey, where are all the problems in town? If you could get to that place in your life, you are the happiest of all men. Because most people run away from problems. Most people are scared of problems. Most people are panicking because of problems. Most people panic because of problems. Most people are scared. Most people are afraid. Most people are depressed because of problems. But if you could get to a place where you will rejoice at challenges and problems, you become the answer to the needs of your world. And that book, this book, is going to get you to that place where you are no more afraid of problems, but you begin to call on problems, challenge problems, and be looking for them. The phrase that I put in the beginning of the book, or the cover of the book, says, if you are not solving problems, then I'm afraid you are the problem. So this book will teach you how to use problems as your springboard to be able to achieve all that you desire in life. This next book here is a serious book. It's for serious-minded people. We all know that we're people, but are you a personality? Sometimes we're tempted to think that personalities are just the few that are lucky, or the few that are God chosen, or the few that are born in the right family. And we often think that that is not us. And that we are not just as good enough or lucky enough to become one. No, you can. There are building blocks to do this. There are principles that will make you turn yourself from just being a human being to becoming a personality, such that you begin to respect yourself. The book is called I'm a Person. Am I a personality? Well, you are not just supposed to be a person. You can decide to elevate your standing, your status, and to become a personality that not just people will respect now, but that will be respected even long after you are gone. James Allen says, a person is limited only by the thoughts that he chooses. This book will put together for you the right thoughts and principles that will convert you from a person to a personality.